Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MilsimUnits.com podcast. I'm your host, C. Brock, and with us here tonight we have Captain T. Devin from the 183rd Air Assault Realism Unit. Captain Devin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you. You got a great presence on the Discord server, like we were talking about, being a mod here with Milsim Units. But being a unit commander here, we've got a lot to unpack here. So we'll get right into it. So, as always, I want to start with you, Devin. Can you give us a little bit of a personal introduction? How did you get started in Milsim gaming?
Yeah. My first iteration, I guess you can say, of Milsim was actually with the 15th MEU, which is another unit that's on Milsim units. Very active, very proactive on their profile. But I started with them. I actually played with them for quite a while. I'm actually retiring as a captain in aviation from them. So I did like a year or two or something like that. Service for them, and then I used to run a community along with a friend of mine on Battlefield actually,
Hmm.
where we tried to kind of like mimic what the Arma life was like, because like back then on Arma 2, and this is like wow, this is so long ago. This is like 2010. We started this, and it was a rather successful community on Xbox, on console. And we used to release like videos and stuff like that, and we had something like some, I think at one point, like total we've had like 5,000 applications for that specific community. Of course it's a much larger like pool of people to pull from, especially on the consoles. But anyway, so like that's how it all kind of started, like Milsim for me. And at some point I was in the 15th, and then the buddy of mine who started that group with me, the Battlefield group, he had got a computer finally, and was wanting to get into Arma Milsim. And the one thing that he was really adamant about, because at the time he was in the army, he was actually he actually at one point got stationed in Germany. He was really big on like the whole, like, because like a lot of Milsim units have like crazy criterias on like getting into the unit, and then you have to do training for like X amount of weeks, especially back then when it was
Yep.
super hot. And he wasn't really for that because of his like prior real world experience, and I totally get it. And he kind of talked me into like, hey, like, what if you just your own unit? And I was like, at the time, I was like, I was happy with the 15th. I was like, I don't, it's a lot of work, it's a lot more to it than just start and go. Because at that time, I kind of had an idea of like what it took to run like a major realism unit. And so anyway, at some point he talked me into it, and I was like, you know what, let's try it out. And I've always been a fan of the army. Like, I'm actually in the army now,
Hmm.
funny enough. So, and it all kind of stemmed from my like love in Milsim, and then it eventually inspired me to do it in real life. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And eventually it just grew and grew and grew, and we got better over time, kind of like fine wine. And we started almost 10 years ago, 2014, around that area. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's a good long run. So definitely, you were pretty well experienced. I mean, even as far as some of the the leading unit commanders that we've had on the podcast previously. I mean, going back 15, pushing 20 years. That is a lot of experience across different platforms, across different titles. So that's impressive. So 2014, yeah. I mean, that is a long haul. And like we were talking before we started here, I checked out the 183rd's YouTube channel, and of course, you're rocking and rolling Arma Reforger now, but you've
Hmm.
got that history going back into Arma 3 and beyond. So there's a lot of great
Yeah.
material there to kind of unpack as well. So I mean, it's pretty impressive. Kind of, taking the inspiration or the suggestions from someone else and running with it. Using your kind of Milsim background, transporting that into the real life army. With military service, that's another common theme. Really
Yeah.
great story. I think, and that's a lot that people in our audience can relate to for sure. So, I'm curious. Tell us about the 183rd's operations. How do you structure your missions? You mentioned, you didn't want to go the like the kind of old school, 100% hardcore mil sim. So,
Hmm.
what does it look like when you guys get together on the server? And, what's unique to the 183rd as opposed to some of the other, units out there?
So as far as our operations, like in operations, we're pretty realistic. Like, and of course, looking at like because we have a whole back end like spreadsheet automated, like pretty much every unit has one, like a master spreadsheet, and we actually track like the percentage of like people who are like real world military veterans to people who aren't, right, who are just here for the experience. And I think part of that, like with our operations and like why it's so realistic, is because we got a lot of real world input from it, right? We got a lot of like, okay, this is how this is done, this is actually how this is done. And as far as like the comms and everything, all of that's very Milsim, like as you would see in any other Milsim. It's very, very like in depth. But our operations, as far as like our assets that we use, it's very air assault. So we're using heliborne operations a lot of times. We love to do the fast troping when we can. Unfortunately, in Reforger as of right now, there is no fast troping or sling loading. But hopefully, somebody comes out with a mod, or maybe Arma comes out with the mod or an update that brings that to the game. But as of right now, so we're just doing a lot of like heliborne inserts. And we were very big on like the combined arms aspect, which I think a lot of units are. But what separates us differently from a majority of your U.S. Army units, I think, is the fact that we stay true to a traditional line unit. Like we don't have like any like fast helmets or anything like that. We're not running suppressors every operation. We're very like line unit, whereas you would experience like the 101st in Kentucky or something like that. Like, it's very like uniformity, ACH is the whole 9 yards. And I think some people just really gravitate towards that because it's raw. It's like it's very okay. This is kind of like the real world. Not everybody gets to be like the special forces. Not everybody's the Delta team or the Rangers. And I think that's kind of what separates us a little bit more and whatnot as far as the operation aspect.
Mm. I mean, definitely, you're describing realism, in a nutshell right there. Sticking with the right kit, kind of modeling your operations after existing units out there. And of course, you do away with, like I said, the negative aspects, the hazing and just the unnecessary discipline and just the hassles. Focus on what what is the most fun if you're into that kind of serious, military gameplay. So, I mean, you mentioned the realism and immersion there. So, what's the fine line? I mean, how do you balance, like the hardcore realism with
Mhm.
the having fun together as a group of like-minded individuals?
Yeah, I think the best way to do it is to just really listen to like the guys who join the unit. Like I say it all the time. Like, I started the unit. I mean, I tell my guys all the time, like, I technically am the owner, right? But I really mold it based on what they're looking for, right? What they're wanting to see us in operations. We have like a suggestion board on our Discord where people throw stuff in there all the time, and we'll pick and choose little things out of that to kind of make it new, make it like vibrant. And as far as like that line of realism to fun, a lot of the units are big on like the traditional, military customs and courtesies, right? We tell people like, hey, you don't have to do that if you want to. No one's gonna stop you because that's gonna get the immersion you're looking for. um but we're not big on that kind of stuff. No one has to call me sir. I'm not a sir in real life, so I wouldn't expect them to call me sir in this. And that's really the difference, I think. And a lot of people, again, they come in, they're willing to learn. Especially like I was talking about earlier with the percentage of people we have as far as like that are actual veterans to people who may not be actual veterans, right? They come in and they're learning, and a lot of people really love to just be educated a little bit more on what it's like to be in the real military. And I think we really bring that edge in a way because again, we're not just over the top with it. We really dance that fine line between realism and fun, and it's hard to really pinpoint like how we do it.
Hmm.
But I guess it just feels like a brotherhood, and I'm sure other milsims are very similar. Funny enough, like we're talking about like kind of how like brotherhoodish it gets. Like we've had guys like go to each other's weddings, and I've met several of the guys. Like we had a whole like trip to Charleston,
Hmm.
South Carolina, where like 4 or 5 of us met up and we stayed in an Airbnb. We went out in town and
Kidding.
had some fun. Like it was a good time, and I think that's really where a lot of people stick around for a really long time. Like some of the people in the unit have been in the unit since like almost its inception, which is really cool to see, and it's created lifelong friendships.
Mm. That does sound like a lot of fun. I mean, you guys are keeping it real and, maintaining good two-way communications. Like you said, listening to feedback, suggestions, other people's ideas. That's in my mind, that's what keeps it real when you got a bunch of guys coming together from all these different backgrounds, different experiences and perspectives, but
Hmm.
they come together on that common ground there. I mean, in my experience, in a milsim, working and meeting with other leaders out there. I mean, that's what makes the difference between success and failure. It is a fine
Oh,
line,
yeah.
but you guys are walking it real tight. So that's great. Now,
Yeah.
it's like I, mentioned, I've seen a couple of your videos, but I've got many, many more to kind of take a look at and see how you guys started and got to where you are today. But
Hmm.
looking back at the 183rds, combat ops or anything you guys have done in any of those titles, can
Hmm.
you describe a memorable op, something that really stands out in your mind or that kind of like defines the unit?
Oh my God. Gee, there's a ton of them. There's
Hmm.
man, it's really hard for me to like pinpoint one because there's been so
Yeah,
many
well,
of
yeah,
them.
you've been to all of them, yeah.
Yeah, I've been in like probably I would say like 98% of the operations or trainings.
Mm,
I think honestly, like as far as like I can't pinpoint like an exact mission because there's been just so many of them, but I can pinpoint like an exact like deployment that like always stands out in my mind when like people because like we got guys that come in all the time and are like, what's the best deployment y'all been on? Like
mm,
asking for stories. And I always go back to a deployment or operation called Operation Cold Winter. There's plenty of videos from it on like throughout YouTube that people can see, but this one was so unique because everything we did was like by hand. Like nothing was made by like the like on the Eden editor on Arma 3. Like none of it was. It was
mm,
all by hand and like built from the ground up. So like the first mission on that was probably the most memorable mission I've ever been a part of in any milsim, like even including like the 15th. You know, no shade, but like it was really cool. Like we flew in. It was a two-part operation that day. We actually did like a full like 6 hours of like straight milsim, and like we had 60 dudes in there. But we like dropped in the middle of the like morning or middle of the night. It was like 12 o'clock, and we dropped in via helicopter. At the time, we had a platoon and a half of infantry. We had a combat support element with a Bradley that just rolled in with us,
mm,
and we had engineers. We had like whole 9 yards. We all dropped in. The infantry scattered along a pretty wide perimeter around a hilltop, and we had the helicopters like continuously sling load in like Hescos and supplies and all kind of things for the engineers and a couple of the infantry guys to start building up a fob in like the middle of nowhere on Chernarus. And it was actually the Chernarus like winter map.
mm,
And we built up a fob in like the middle of the night, and it took us like so long. Like by the time we got to like the end, it was morning, like in game morning, and we had it set to real time. And so like it was cool to like kind of see that and just like see everybody working together, every section, like and like that goes back to that combined arms. Like the aviation was just moving. We had an Apache overhead as like surveillance and security. We had guys in the tree line as like exterior like security, and we had the Bradley on a hilltop as like rear security. It was super complex, and I think that was probably one of our, in my opinion at least, one of our coolest ops that we'd ever done because it really showcased that like everything came together and it worked perfectly, you know.
oh
And
yeah,
it was really cool. It was really cool.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah,
No, seriously,
because
that's a
oftentimes they don't.
well,
So
yeah, you got that right. Yeah, what's the old line? No plan survives first contact with the enemy.
that's right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I got to look that one up because I got to say I cut my teeth in Armor 2. I go way back. I love Cherno. I love Winter. I love
It's
combined
a
arms,
classic.
like I've said with a lot of guys here. So I got to look that one up. That sounds like a hell of a good time.
Hmm. It was cool.
Now, what about going forward? So, I mean, you guys, like I said, you've got experience, like you mentioned, Arma 2, Arma 3, you're in Reforger now. So,
Yeah.
looking ahead, I mean, and with all of your experience going back a decade plus, what's your next stream op look like? Where do you want to go in game?
So, with us switching over to Armor Reforger, we obviously lost like a large population of like members who were on Arma 3. And sorry. a large population like members who were on Arma 3, and it kind of hurt us a little bit, but like to be fair, like the unit has had its fair shares of like, all right, we're gonna take a break for a little bit, we're gonna come back, and then when we came back this time, we were like, okay, Arma Reforger's out. I was playing it kind of on my own, and then I had a couple of the other guys playing it with me, and we were like, okay, this could work because like we were playing WCS, and we were enjoying the mods that were on there. Like they were. Arma Reforger now has gotten to the point, and of course it's been 3 years, which is very similar to Arma 3's like kind of like you know,
Yep.
I guess you could say like tenure, right? It's kind of very similar to how that worked,
Yep.
but it's the mods are there now, and so now we're growing fast. I mean, Milsim Units has helped a lot. We've been just really just full steam ahead on Arma Reforger. But back to the earlier question, like if we had like what's our dream now? Our dream right now is just to get back to that company size element that we were at in Arma 3 before. And then also opening up those supporting assets to be able to do operations much like Cold Winter, the one I was describing, because Armor Reforger is really kind of built for it. Like it's got like the supply line, and and all these things that can happen. We're being creative, and the sky's the limit, and we're just looking forward to seeing what's out there and like what's the possibilities. And at the same time, we're still learning, learning what our left and right limits are. So like we're still kind of like developing and whatnot. But that's kind of the dream, is just to get back to where we were before, and do it better than ever.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. I mean, you guys got a good vision, and I mean, you're right. The potential from Armor Forger is now starting to be unlocked. Like I've probably said it, 10, 20 times already,
Hmm.
talking with other unit leaders. It took a good 2+ years for all the mods to get out into Arma 3 that we needed, and it was really the community that made it. It's like obviously the people, behind the triggers, in the chats, on the radios, they're the ones who make the difference, as far as Milsim goes. But the
Right.
modders, content creators, all the various devs who have been scripting and adding their content, they're the ones that really unleashed. The full potential in Milsim for Arma 3, and yeah, with the Infusion engine, and all the hype with Arma 4, coming up in the next
Yeah.
couple of years, man. People are excited. I'm excited. I'm glad to see that people are really going like heels in and trying to get as much content out there as soon as possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you guys have in the works and keeping up with you as you go forward into the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, and that's really kind of the goal for us too. Is like you mentioned Arma 4, like we wanted to come out on arm like we were really battling. Did we want to go Arma 3 again, or did we want to go Arma Reforger? And then
Hmm.
ultimately we decided Arma Reforger because it's just a new era.
Yep.
It's the next step forward. And we're really excited to see what happens with Arma 4, because from what everybody's saying and what all the articles and Bohemia themselves are saying, like Arma Reforger is just a test bed of like what's gonna happen soon. And like I keep telling people, I'm like, hey, trust the process, because this stuff's about to be crazy. Like it's about to be really really cool. What they're gonna do with Arma 4, I have full trust in Bohemia to do the right thing and make the right decisions. Because they have in the past. They are very good about listening to the community and what they want, and they really lean heavy on the Milsim side too, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They take us very seriously individually as units, and yeah, like I was saying earlier, two-way comms, that makes all the difference. And
Mm.
they don't hold back, letting us know where they are and where they're going. So there's a lot to be excited about when you look at it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, you mentioned earlier, that you guys have, a sense of brotherhood, like legit. You guys are getting together, for gatherings, going around town, going to buddies' weddings here.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys got some really tight-knit relationships. Can you get us a little bit deeper into that? What does that look like, when guys, get on the server, get into the unit, and they start developing those relationships? How does that pan out?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy to kind of see it from like a because like for me, like with the people that I started the unit with, and then the people that like were like the founder, Captain Summers, he's another founder of the unit. Like, it's cool to see it from like kind of almost like a, because I'm in it, but like I'm also like behind the line
Mm,
in a way, as a company commander.
yep.
So like sometimes you just walk by like a squad and you hear them just kind of like joking around, cutting up, and like you can tell like that friendship is there, even if they just met each other, and then just seeing it developed, like some of the people that I mentioned that like we met up and if it wasn't for the group, never none of that would have ever happened, right? And seeing it from like kind of like a back perspective of like, okay, this is really cool. Like people are like-minded individuals coming together playing the one game that they love or a game that they love rather, and finding another like-minded individual, and then what happens from there is just kind of like the history of their friendship, and it's been multiple times like that guys have met up. I met the founder of our unit. He was the guy that I was talking about earlier that was on that battlefield group with me.
Mhm.
Like he's come through where I live, and we met up and sat down and talked for a little bit. We talk all the time, and just seeing that and like seeing it just happen, just seeing it in the moment from a third person perspective is really cool. And then when of course like a year or 6 months or 7 months down the road, that friendship has just developed and blossomed. It's just I don't know, it's kind of rewarding to me in a way. Because it makes me think like, okay, we're doing something right here. Like if this is
Mhm.
happening here, that means we're doing something that is positive for that person's life, right? Because a lot of people, you know, use Arma or use other, video games to like get away from reality in a way. They come
Right.
home from work, or, they want a space to be able to come in and have fun and just have a good time. Like and seeing that from that therapist perspective, it just, kind of marinate in a way. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I can only imagine, you kind of put the framework, up and you start getting the systems going, getting the unit up and running, the people come in, but,
Mhm.
seeing it develop its own kind of, like culture, like I was saying there. I mean, it's got to be very rewarding for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really cool. And like we talk about it all the time. Like even like the guys, who have met up and whatnot. Like it's just if it wasn't for the group, they would have never known each other, and they would have never gone to each other's wedding. They would have never met up. We have a guy actually. He's from England. He flew across the Atlantic Ocean to come hang out at some guy's house, like because they've known each other for so long.
Oh, shit.
Like they're like real life friends. And it again, it's just I mean, seeing that kind of stuff, just it hits a soft spot in my heart. I'll be honest. Like, and it sounds so cliche, and it sounds so kind of like we're gamers, but like it is cool. It is really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. No, I get it. That's a one in a million kind of thing. And that's, you bring out the best in each other. That's the thing we get into Milsim because we want to bring out the best in ourselves and each other, in combat, in the tactical kind of sims. But
Hmm.
yeah, you're taking that beyond the kind of, bounds of the Armaverse and making it a real life thing. You want to talk
Exactly.
about realism, man. You got it right there.
It's
So,
like brotherhood. It's like being in the military.
yeah,
You
yep,
you do anything for those guys, and like them going to each other's weddings. That's just, it says something. It really does
yeah,
definitely say something about those individuals or the group in general, and like the kind of culture that we've built over the years, and it's super cool.
yeah, that's outstanding. Now, I mean, you guys go way back, like we were talking about here. So, you talked about some of the evolutions, different platforms and the
Hmm.
development, the different people who've kind of, come in and help support the growth. What lessons have you learned along the way? Let's say we got, another unit commander here, whether he's experienced or he's moving to a
Hmm.
forger or he's just starting out, from scratch here. What
Yeah.
what have you learned that you can share with the other guys in the audience?
Oh man, it's a lot to unpack. Um, a lot, man. Like a lot about myself too. That's another thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is being able to like self reflect, and kind of like think about like, okay, did I handle that right? Did I do that correctly? Like there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, the one thing I would say is that like if you truly, because like some people create a milsim and it's just a group of friends, and they don't have any intention of really like growing it past that.
Right.
But then you have others who start a milsim because they want to grow it to as big as they can get it. And the biggest thing I would say is to just be patient, you know, collaborate with people that join the unit, right? You can't do it all yourself. Like there's no way in any kind of circumstance that I would have been able to build the 183rd to what it is just me by myself. You have to have a kind of like a close knit kind of team that is like bringing new ideas aboard, bringing, you know, different, oh, we can do it this way, and kind of just like collaborating in a more or less like back when we first started, I was very like, no, I got this, I know what I'm doing kind of thing, very like closed minded to other people's ideas.
Yep.
And as time has gone on, and part of it I think is because I joined the military, but like as like time has gone on, I've like kind of realized like you have to use other people, you have to rely on team, you have to really kind of like broaden that scope of like what's possible. And then once you realize that, and you sit down and you self reflect, okay, I can't do it all myself, I don't know everything, right? It's really crazy what can happen, and how fast it can actually happen too, because like we started up on Reforger like 2 months ago, like from like just a few of us, and then now we have over 70 active members. And it's all due to, because like I'm not trying to take it all on myself, I'm literally like, we opened up a section not too long ago, and they were like, well, how do you want this? I said, I don't care, just figure it out. Like, just it was a mortar section, I don't know anything about the mortars in Reforger, I love cool and like shooting them because they're really cool. But other than that, I couldn't tell you how to shoot them, I couldn't tell you how to aim them, I couldn't tell you like, okay, what's the proper procedure here, because one, I don't do that in real life, and two, I know nothing about it, so I'm just like, you, that's y'all's baby. Like make it your own. Like
Yep.
like figure it out. I'll be there to support you any kind of way you need. Like if y'all need any sort of mods, we'll make it happen. But like other than that, as far as like doctrine and everything, this is what I know. This is the FM on like how to do it in the army, but obviously break that down into Arma style, you know. And but other than that, man, I kind of just I'm much more hands off approach, and I'm more administrative, just making sure like they have everything they need, the servers working, the Discord's there. I'm still bringing in members using marketing sources and stuff like that. Other than that, I just kind of let them have at it, and that's really the biggest thing I can say for anybody that's looking to do something like this is utilize your team, utilize your team, rely on them. I often say it all the time, is like, and one of my favorite leadership traits is servant leadership. Like, hey, none of you work for me, I work for you, what do you need from me to help you get something accomplished, right? And that's really what it is. And another thing too, get really good at Excel or Perscom, you know. Get really good with Google Drive. You're gonna
No
you're gonna
joke.
need it.
Yeah.
But it's all that comes over time. I even talk about getting really good at Excel. Like at the time, back then, we were manually punching in everything. Like on
Mm.
every sheet, we were just manually doing it. But now it's like to a point where it's like automated. We put your name in one spot and then you're on everything, and it's very like fluent and automated now. But other than that, I mean, I would say just again, I can't even stress that enough. Just find your friends, find the group of people you want to start it with, and work together. And teamwork is the dream work, and it's as cliche as that sounds, it's so true. And
Yep,
that's
it
really
is.
what I think helped along the way, is just realizing that, and then utilizing that, and then what happens after that is just really, really, really cool.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of great points there. And people talk about the burden of leadership, but when you act as a force multiplier, we talk about this this weapons team or this system here over multiplying our combat capabilities on the field. You can do the
Right.
same thing in your subordinate leaders and your soldiers under them. Like you said, when they take ownership, they buy in. They take a stake and they treat it like it's
Yep.
their own. And that's like that. That is what we were talking about a few minutes ago in terms of bringing out the best in people. So.
No, 100%. And like kind of to add to that too, like on the same point, is like when they take that ownership, one, that's their baby now. Like they're gonna stick around for quite a long time, and that's when that camaraderie starts, right? When
Mm,
they are bought in fully, they like start taking it in as their own, and they develop it. And then like-minded individuals want to join the mortar section, or they want to join the weapons team, or they want to join aviation, or whatever it might be, right? And then that's really how you start getting like your backbone, if you will, of your unit. And then from there, the sky's the limit, right? And they get bought in, they start inviting their friends, and that's when you really start seeing like growth, and just like organic growth within the unit just happening.
yep.
Or any organization for that matter, right? you know and I think again, that's really what attributes to what we're doing now, and what we want to do going forward, and what I guess kind of separates us in a way, and I love it. It's really cool, and it's really beautiful.
That's good shit. So, I've been on the Discord. I kind of, looking around from the outside a little bit, but
Mhm.
I've also seen you interacting on, of course, the Milsim Units Discord server as well.
Sure.
How do you guys keep up? I mean, you got a lot going, a lot of good people doing some good shit here. What's the way that you and your other leaders are able to keep up and just maintain those friendships? Like, is
Uh,
there any particular medium? I mean, do you guys play other games kind of after hours or any other kind of I guess bonding activities, so to speak?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing that helps us keep up is being mindful of like how many events and how many things we're scheduling a week for our members to do, and to really because like you can get burnt out really fast on this stuff. Like if you're just constantly doing Arma Milsim and you're not doing anything else outside of that, it can burn you out really quick. And I guess like part of how we do that is you're right. We often do like community game nights where we'll jump on like NASCAR. We'll go around a NASCAR track and like it doesn't ever turn into a race. It more or less just turns into a demolition derby. But like we'll do something like that. Like as a matter of fact, if you look on our Instagram, there's a picture on there of the of a striker on Arma 3.
Mm.
On the back of it on the nameplate it said "Do it for Dale," and that's because like that came from that NASCAR game community game night where we were wrecking each other and everybody's like "Do it for Dale," and like it was just funny and it ended up getting into a deployment and like they took a picture of it, sent it to me. I was like, that's funny. I'm putting that on Instagram. Like and that's part of how we do it. We're not always like full like hua hua.
Yep.
It's sometimes going to be like a lot of just fun. We'll get on Wasteland. One of the funnest things that I think I can tell you is like it wasn't an official operation. It was just like 40 of us got on a Wasteland server, and and this was on Arma 3. We took over Kavala, the castle, and
Mm.
we the city of Kavala was like definitively ours. Like there was nobody getting in. So like we
Oh
sat
yeah.
on this castle and we like loaded up and like we built up a fob on the castle. We loaded up our all of our arsenals with what was it called, the rocket launcher, the Titan, the Titan AT
Yep.
missiles.
Yep.
We loaded up all of our little boxes and backpacks with as many of those missiles as we possibly. We probably had like 700 missiles up there, and this server had thermal like engaged, like where we could use thermals. So like we were just launching missiles like 4 kilometers out, view distance all the way up, like just dropping warheads on people, and like it was so cool. And like just doing things like that, I think is really what kind of helps us get away from the mundaneness of running the unit and keeps people from burning out. And again, goes back to kind of creating that culture and that brotherhood. When you have some really memorable moments like that, it helps with keeping people around and developing those lifelong friendships we talked about.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes its way into the unit lore there. But that's
Hmm.
what sticks in people's memories. Those great times. It's out of the ordinary, like kind of low key, just blowing off steam. But you guys have the time of your life for a couple of hours. Like you said, you got guys who are coming home from work and school and everything else. So, when they're able to do that and just focus on having a blast, if you'll pardon the expression, man, you can't beat that. Seriously.
No, you can't. No, having a blast. I got it.
Ba-dum-bum. So yeah, I'm one of those. But so I mean, you guys go way back, and like you mentioned, you got your start in the 15th MU. I've
Hmm.
interacted with a lot of their unit members and been on some of their or been on joint ops with them on various servers. So
Yeah.
tell me about the 183rd. How do you guys interact with the greater community in terms of Milsim or anything else out there online?
Yeah, we're always open to joint operations. As a matter of fact, we did one not too long ago with the first ID and the 511th,
Hmm.
where we were just now in an FTX cycle, which for us that's like an 8 week period where each mission is a certain criteria of a combat skill, like it could be convoys or patrol ops or
Yep.
something of the sort like that, where we specifically on that in a way in that operation where we have to just meet certain criteria for that operation. It's built to kind of cater towards that. Um, so we had them join us for a joint op. So we've done joints with a lot. We did a World War II joint op with the 72nd and who was it? I think it was the I don't remember who it was. It was the 72nd and somebody else. 173rd at the time.
Hmm.
We did a World War II Operation Market Garden,
Yeah.
like reenaction or whatever. And I wasn't personally a part of that one, but they had put it on, and a bunch of guys got on, and we just do joint operations with everybody. even like a couple of units in the past have like come to us kind of trying to like, hey, how do we do this, like we're trying to like, especially like newer units, they'll come in and say like, "Hey, can you help us?" And I'm always cool, like I'm always like, yeah, yeah, absolutely, I'll show you exactly how it's done, and I tell them, I'm like, this is how should do your S1. That you should have something like a spreadsheet like this where you're tracking personnel. You need to develop, X, whatever the question is. I help answer it the best I can. And I think by just doing that, it helps with the name because, like, you don't want to be that unit's like that shuns people away, because that's not going to help the community as a broader scope, as far as Milsim's concerned. And it I guess that's really kind of how we attribute as best we can. And then of course, any joint ops that come around the corner. I think right now we're looking at doing something with the 506 soon,
Mhm.
which will be cool, because they're another kind of like air assault unit. And yeah, we're always game to do a joint op, or help out whenever. Just all I got to do is ask and reach out, and we'll definitely be open to it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it sounds like you're taking the same attitude that you kind of bring in to the unit internally, and you just sharing that with the rest of the community in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of finding that common ground and working together to bring your teams together. So
of
yeah,
course.
that's great. So with that in mind, and we've talked about, the kind of, the future potential, what's to come here in the next year or two, maybe. Where do you see the 183rd in a year from now? Like, let's say we're in the middle of summer 2026. Where are you guys going to be?
Uh, I mean, as far as like what we project, because like on our S1 side, we actually project like our recruiting, like retention and like rates. So like as far as like where I'm at right now with it, like we should, as far as like if we just stay on the steady growth that we've been on as of right now, we should be somewhere around the 200 member mark. Hopefully.
Mm.
But as far as like what's gonna happen in a year, we try to look that far ahead, but we just kind of go a quarter at a time, if that makes sense. We kind of split up the year into a quarter where it's like, okay, for these 3 months we're doing this. These 3 months we should be here. These 3 months we should be here. That way, we're not looking too far ahead. We're looking just far ahead to where we can make adjustments if necessary, as far as like the community side and the admin side of things. But I mean, I'm really hoping to be somewhere around the 200 mark, where we have, at least almost a full company size with a bunch of supporting assets and full aviation branch, and being able to do those broader, persistent operations like we talked about earlier. And I think if we can get back to that, that would be really, really, really cool. Which we're, like I said, we're tracking on that right now, and it's looking to be good. And then I don't know, maybe Bohemia throws a curveball and brings out Arma 4 ahead of schedule. That would be cool too.
Oh,
We'd be on there. That's where we'd be.
hmm.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, we're just kind of playing it by ear and just having fun while doing it.
Yeah, no, sounds good. You're keeping it realistic, you know. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But like you were talking about just a moment ago, I mean, you're rolling with some legit established Milsim units out there. You're kind of working and helping to support and develop, the up and coming units. So
Mm,
who knows where the community is gonna be, where you guys are gonna be there. But you've got a good presence and you're
right.
you're you're bringing out your leadership. So I think good things will come. And 200 people, a 200 member unit, that's a realistic goal. I think for Reforger, and
Mhm.
combined arms, man, that's what I'm in it for. So I think you're going to bring out a lot of other people. So I wish you the best of luck as you take it quarter by quarter and see where we end up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a journey, and it's, again, it's nothing we haven't seen before, in a way, because like in Arma 3, at one point we had, I think, like just under like 250 members. So we've grown to that
Mm,
size before. Now
okay.
at the time we didn't know what to do. Like at one point we had his YouTube channel was War as Hell, but his old channel was Dunbar Snack Bar. It was a sports channel, and he had joined our unit and he made some videos for us. Matter of fact, a lot of the Operation Cold Winter videos are his videos. Um, but he had joined our unit, and then we got this huge influx of people, and like we got, like, in a way, overwhelmed. We're like, well,
Yeah.
how do we manage this? Like, it's, again, growing pains are there, and it happens. But we eventually persevered and kind of figured it out, and it was really, really, really cool to experience that and now know how to handle it with the proper, like, back end personnel tracking and assistance from everybody else, like really leaning on the team at that point. Uh, but I mean, it's going to be a journey, and it's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure a lot of others are looking forward to it in the unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, come what may.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to see Milsim Gaming in general? It's like, I mean, yeah, we're looking forward to Arma 4, but is there something, that you haven't seen yet that you want to see, whether it's like a script or a mod or
Mhm.
any kind of evolution in Milsim Gaming, any other titles that you're out there kind of tracking? What do you want to see? What do you think that your unit can do to make that a reality?
I mean, there's a lot that I would love to see. Um, but
Kind of a
I
loaded
understand
question.
there. Yeah, there's a lot that I would love to see, but unfortunately, like you have to stick within the confines of the game. Now, I mean, I so like as far as the 183, we have like no aspiration of like going to any other like title, if you will.
Okay,
As far as like the Bellum or the squads and whatnot, we've always just kind of stuck to Arma, and it's one because it's something we know, and two, it's as bad as it sounds. Like I should be like, oh no, we need to branch out of our comfort zone. It's just something that we've been a part of. Now, as far as like the title Arma or the Milsim units or not Milsim units, like Milsim units, you get them
sure.
like
Yeah,
not
I gotcha.
you
Yep.
get what I'm saying? But like as far as like what I would love to see from the community is kind of more of a sense like, and this is something that I have personally thought about like doing, is like a NATO Discord, if that
Mm.
makes sense. Where like it's kind of like that, where like it's just no one's like a commander of the whole thing. I guess kind of Milsim Units is kind of like that if you think about it. Like,
Well, I mean, maybe it kind of indirectly. So
yeah, it is kind of like that if you think about it. I started speaking it out loud, and I was like, wait a second, it's already there. Like,
no, no,
but
seriously, no, let it
where
roll.
I mean, that's just kind of like where it's like literally like, okay, I don't know how you would do it. It's gonna be a whole clusterfuck. Wait, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay, it would be a huge cluster at first, but like you know, it would be a huge cluster, but I think it would be really cool if like, something like that existed where like okay, like somebody, I don't know who. It sounds so weird like I'm saying it now, it sounds really really crazy, but like somebody is like Congress, and like somebody is sending like 4 or 5 units to deploy overseas, and like there's a huge storyline. Something like that would be really cool. It's really hard to put together. I can see why it probably hasn't been put together because it's a lot. But I don't know. Something like that would be really cool. I'm just kind of excited to see what Armor 4 comes out with, because I feel like it's gonna really like broaden the scope of what's possible and what's doable. And just see what's happening with that. I'm excited just like everybody else is for it. I'm anxiously waiting. I'm kind of upset we're getting GTA 6 before Arma 4. Um, but other than that, I mean, as far as the Milsim community, just to see it expand and flourish and grow and have more people from other, environments or backgrounds come in, check it out, see what it's all about. Just seeing it grow. I mean, I've been a part of it for 10 years now, and well, more than that. I've been a part of it for longer than 10 years. 10 years just with the 183rd, but
Yeah,
it's seeing it from where it was to where it is now. It's night and day. Like anybody that's been around the community for that long can definitely see it's come a long, long way.
yeah,
And I think it's cool just to see it flourish, even on other titles. Like what's that game that just recently came out? The Bellum or Bellum came out.
yeah.
I see some
Well,
gameplay of
you ever
that.
seen a lot of demos coming up,
Yeah,
about it?
yeah, a lot of gameplay and demos. It looks really cool. I just me personally, I don't know if it's something that I would create a division of the unit for, but who knows? I mean, we may. This again, sky's the limit. We never know what we're gonna do. That's why we kind of live it 3 months at a time, just
Yeah.
to just to make sure.
Yeah, no, I think I hear where you're coming from there, and I mean, we talk about lessons learned. Bohemia has done the same thing, with their relationship with the community and the other or the modders and the other kind of outside devs there. I'm really hoping that we can get a lot higher player count on servers, in Arma
Hmm.
4. Looking at what they've been doing in BBS 4 and some of their global,
Oh
networking
yeah.
capabilities. That's what I'm excited about. If they could bring that to the Armaverse, I mean, like you're saying, you could have a full kind of global conflict scenario where you've got all the different aspects. I mean, if we got people who are into logistics and intelligence and all these
Hmm.
other kind of non-infantry specialties or
Yeah.
MOSs, but there's got to be some guys out there with some political science backgrounds who are willing to write those campaigns and
Oh
coordinate the
yeah.
different factions. You know, we've got the joint ops. We just need to scale it up and get the
Hmm.
right people in the right spots, the right positions, if you will. You know?
Yeah, yeah, because of the server count, like just spitballing here. Like if the server count was like a Minecraft server where you can have 1,000 people on it,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
and the map's massive. Like I know that's like really like shooting for the stars, but like I don't know. Technology's crazy. You never know what's gonna
yep,
come
yep.
around the corners. Like, but like if it happened, like I mean, you'd have to like build a unit until like you have to have a signal section and then like a bunch of supporting assets to support the main effort of the infantry and it'd be really cool. Um, it's crazy. You talked about what's it called? VBS, I think it's called.
Yeah, yep.
And
Virtual battle space. Yeah,
yeah, like the Bohemians like what they like sell to the government game.
yep.
So like it was funny. So like I joined the military and then we go to this there's like a range. I forget exactly what they call it, but there's like a range where you go and like you get familiar with the gun like as you're training.
Hmm.
And when the first time I walked into this building, it's a blacked out in the room, and it's like they use these like real like two scale M4s that have like little air compressors on them to like give the kickback of a real M4.
Hmm.
And when they turned on the screens, I was like, wait a second, this is Arma 2. And so like I got in there and I like shot a perfect like score and they're like, "How'd you do it?" I said, "Because I played a lot of Arma." Like they're like, "What's Arma?" I was like, that's Arma." And then like they didn't understand. Not everybody understood it, but I understood
Yep.
it, and it was kind of funny. It was to like see it in the real world being used. But I don't know. That was just kind of like one of my military stories I always like to tell.
No, that's great. I've seen maybe not the same range, but a similar range, and I swear it was Arma 2 or
Hmm.
VBS 3 or 4 or whatever. There was like one documentary on American Heroes channel, I think it was, and then there's a couple of kind of B-roll channels that I follow, military B-roll footage channels that I follow on
Hmm.
YouTube, where I've seen the same deal where they've got like a Humvee kind of it's set up in the middle of the room, but they've got a fully operational turret, and they've got the kind of laser targeting system, or at least kind of hit system there that
Hmm.
translates into the VBS. So yeah, I mean it's amazing what that's the thing. I mean this is the kind of stuff that the actual military around the world, whether you're talking Army, Marine Corps, or international forces, this is the kind of stuff they use to train up and save a lot of money honing their skills before they hit the
Yeah.
range. So
Yeah. Exactly.
it's awesome. All right, so let's get back into Arma. As much as we hope to see some of some of the capabilities from VBS translate over into Arma 4. But going back to Reforger or maybe Arma 3, what's your
Mhm.
go-to loadout for your ops? I mean, what are you packing when you get in server with the guys?
So for me, so in the unit we do have a standard loadout where like the rifleman should be wearing this and the automatic rifleman should be using this stuff and so on and so forth. So like for me, I have a loadout that consists of just ACH, you know combat T, pants, basic kind of AP or SPCS plate carrier,
Hmm.
and then I have the radio backpack and an M4. So like it's, it's very basic. Again, we're very like line unit. Like I don't have like any crazy. I have a bunch of smoke grenades though. I'll tell you that. I probably have more smoke grenades than magazines. Because we use them. We use different colors for different like markings. Like purple is typically going to be like our LZ markings, and then yellow is going to mean something else, and then obviously white is used for concealment. Um, but other than that, I mean, being at where I'm at on the battlefield, I'm not kind of in the thick of it more or less too much. I'm just kind of there, back, and just working comms. So a lot of times, I don't get to go do the cool stuff. But if I had to choose, though, like if I could choose, I would love to rock the 240 Bravo and just
Hmm.
run and gun with that. Even though I know it's super unrealistic, I would love to just let it rip. And, and yeah, but for me, it's pretty basic. It's a very mundane loadout. Most people wouldn't like my loadout. It makes me really slow too.
Well, I mean, that's the burden of leadership, like I was talking about. It is what it is, and that's realistic. So, keeping it real. But yeah, I feel you on the machine gun there. I love me a good machine gun, and the 240, man. It's you got a lot of firepower with that. It sounds great. So, what about military movies? I asked this of just about all our guests here on the program. Let's say that you've got the 183rd, you're going to Hollywood, and you're looking at some Hollywood classic here that's gonna kind of set the stage for what you're gonna portray on screen. What title? And it could be a movie, a miniseries, a TV show, even. What title do you
Sure.
think best captures the spirit of the 183rd?
That's a good question. Uh, so I would say the title that captures the spirit, and dare I say it, and I know I'm gonna get flack for this, is gonna be Band of Brothers.
Mhm.
That would capture like the brotherhood spirit that I was kind of alluding to earlier.
Okay.
But as far as like what kind of captures like who we are, I would say we are soldiers.
Hmm.
With Mel Gibson,
Yep.
because again it goes back to the air assault and the 101st being the first air assault unit, right? Or sorry, the seventh Cav being that first air. Is it the seventh? No, it's the 101st. Now I'm
Close
tripping.
enough. It was such a tight timeline there,
Hmm.
getting those air mobile soldiers out there in the battle space. Yeah, it was a whole different way of doing things.
Let me see. Now I'm tripping. So,
I can't.
I'm-
I'm so fuzzy especially on the
I gotta
early
look it
part of
up
the
now.
war. Yeah, you get
We
me up to 60 past Tet. Yeah, I'm a little bit better, but the
we
early
are
days.
soldiers. We were soldiers. It's the I don't know. It's either the seventh Cav or the 101st. I know that though. But anyway, that I would say that kind of really depicts on like kind of our operation style and tempo. Because
Hmm.
again, we're utilizing helicopters just like they did in that movie. But as far as like kind of like the culture or the camaraderie,
Yeah,
definitely like the Banner Brothers. And again, I know someone can be like, "There's no way you could compare yourself to Banner Brothers," but like as far as like the brotherhood, I mean that's kind of where I would put it, just based off of what I've seen and how I feel the culture and the environment and the atmosphere is. That's really the two that I would choose, and I could be wrong, but that's what I'm. Maybe I'm looking at it from a too much of a biased standpoint, but that's what I would think.
hey, the boot fits, as I say. But no, you know your guys best. You've been there since the beginning, since the formation, and it was the Air Cav, the seventh Cav. So, in
Okay.
the movie anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna have to hit the history books here and get myself up to speed. But either way, fair titles there. Great movies, and you're right. I mean, it like it really both of those screenplays, they bring out, it's not so much about the gunfire and the explosions and all the special effects. It's about the people, and it's about
Hmm.
the relationship and the closeness and the working together to get through some of the toughest situations that anybody could ever face. So
Hmm.
it's yeah, we might be online and yeah, it looks a little pixelated, but when you got good people coming together and bringing out the best like we've been talking about here,
Yeah,
that's what those
it's
two
really
titles are all about.
yeah, it's really what it's in my opinion. I think again, the guys that join, it's really what it is all about. At the end of the day, it's a game. It's not real world, and it's about as close as you can get to real world without actually signing up. But
Yeah,
and we love it, and it's one of the things we do every day. It seems like every day we're doing something on here, but I would agree.
definitely. Yeah. So this has been great. I've really learned a lot. Like you said, you've the last couple of months in particular, you've hit Reforger, you've kind of reinvigorated the unit here. We've been seeing you guys on the Milsim Units Discord. So I got to ask, how has your experience been since you joined up as a subscriber with us? It's like you talked about some of the good things we've done, bringing the people together and having
Yeah.
this open forum here. Um, you know, what have you benefited from the most, and what do you think that we can improve on? What opportunities do we have to support and help you reach your goals?
Honestly, it's been great. I mean, having the versatility because we used to use that other website. I forgot what it was called.
What's that clan list?
Yeah, Clan List
Yep,
or
yep.
Arma Clans or whatever it was called at the time.
Oh yeah, that yeah.
Um, we we used to use that one a lot, but what I really like about Milsim units is where I really think Milsim's is doing it right is the versatility of like having options, like with the banners and then of course like the video stuff that we're doing now, where if you're a tier 1 subscriber, you can request to get a video, we'll come shoot it for you, kind of thing. That versatility is something that's been unmatched and hasn't ever been around until now. And I think being able to claim a featured units banner like 1 month if you want to, or have that versatility, even if you don't want to go the tier 1 subscription. Let's just say like you don't want to spend that much money. Like there's still a lot on the website that is good for everybody. But as far as tier 1, I would say tier 1 is like it's the obviously it's tier 1. It's the best thing you can get, and having that versatility again, where you can be on the featured units, or your logo might pop up at the very top of the website in that game list, and having the voting the way it works for tier 1 units or preferred units, it's unmatched. We haven't had anything like it before. I would say there's no. I don't know. I don't even know if there's a way to really improve it more. I mean, obviously there's constantly stuff that are getting updated on it, and of course the bot. Like the bot's awesome because back
Mm.
then on Clanless, I used to have to like, hey, everybody vote, like
Yep,
come on,
yep.
everybody vote, and then the bot just shoots it straight into your Discord. You don't have to worry about it. You can change the time on when you want it. Like it's every day it's getting better, and I'm excited to see where Milsim Units goes, and how much you can actually utilize and do on there, and customize on your profile. As of right now, I think it's got pretty much everything, but I could be wrong. I think around the corner, y'all might put in something where it's like, "Oh, this is really cool. Let's try that out." And I don't know. I couldn't tell you what to improve. What y'all doing now is just fine for me, and maybe it's just me being old school and knowing what I used to have.
Mm.
But I love it. I think everybody that is looking to like start a milsim, especially, should definitely get tier 1. I mean, if you're gonna spend money anywhere other than a server and maybe a website or a Discord if you want to boost it or anything, definitely need to get a tier 1 subscription with Milsim units, because that marketing that you're gonna utilize is far far more of a valued expense in my opinion than anything else. Like before you go get the 128 slot server, make sure you have a tier 1 subscription on Milsim units.
I really appreciate hearing that. LaFlash, he's been working his hump off
Hmm.
for a year plus now, bringing this to fruition. Working with the devs, building the platform, adding new features. And you're right, we've got options, and we're ready to work with you to talk about your unit's needs, what we can do to support. And like I said, we're trying to bring out the best in each other. So
Yeah.
hearing that kind of feedback, it really does mean a lot to us, and we're looking forward to the future as much as you and everyone else there. We've got, we're all kind of excited here. There's a lot of good things going on.
Certainly.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what's going to come around the corner, but we're going to be ready. Whatever comes, whatever kind of unit you want to bring up, man. Like I said, we got options. Take a look at the website, milsimunits.com. Take a look at our Discord if you're not there already. I'll have links below, and I'll have some links here to the 183rd as well. But yeah, man, that's it. Just trying to be a force multiplier. But we couldn't do it without community leaders and other members like you and your men
Yeah.
supporting us as well. So we appreciate it likewise.
Absolutely. No, again, that's you guys are great. It's always been good.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the work as a mod. Yeah, kind of keeping an eye. It's tough because we've grown so much. We've got so many units, so many different community members out there on the server. It's a lot to track, but you've definitely
Mhm.
done some great work, and just help people along the way, and bring out the full functionality of the server here. So good shit all around.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we went deep. Took a real long look back at the history of the 183rd, your experiences here in Milsim Gaming. Is there anything that we haven't covered here in the podcast? I mean, is there anything that you want our audience members to know about the unit that maybe they haven't realized yet, listening to what we've talked about so far?
I don't know. I mean, we definitely we dig deep. There's probably a lot of things we didn't touch, but I can't think of them. At the end of the day, like I always like to tell people, right? Because Milsim's not for everybody. But
Mm,
if you're like even somewhat interested in like military history or military doctrine, or you watch a lot of military movies, or you play Battlefield, or just any kind of other title that's kind of are trying to like be close but not quite there, just give it a shot. Like what's it gonna hurt to just grab a game and uh you know try to see if you like it. People sometimes are on the fence about joining because they're worried about like, oh, I'm gonna have to call everybody sir, or I'm gonna have to say yes sergeant, or I'm gonna get yelled at, right? Oftentimes it's not like that. Like,
mm,
and again, the 183rd is one of those ones that aren't like that, and we were very very careful to not be. But like, give Milsim a shot. You might enjoy it. If you've ever played airsoft in your life, you're probably gonna like Milsim. So
mm.
like, it's one of those things where those people that may be on the verge of just thinking about it, just give it a go. I mean, the worst thing that's gonna happen is it's just not for you, and then it is what it is. At least you tried.
Absolutely. No, that's some great advice. Definitely. You never know. Like you said, with those interests there that you mentioned, that's some of the common ground that a lot of the guys, in various units, including your own, I'm sure, those are the
Mhm.
kind of things that they find, those commonalities to build their friendships upon. So.
Oh
Take
yeah,
a look. Definitely, I'm gonna have links to your social media, to your Discord server here below in
cool.
the podcast description here. But let's say someone wants to take that first step and they want to get involved with the unit. What's the best way to reach out and join up?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is, join the Discord. It's I guess it's gonna be in the description, but join our Discord, and we have a bunch of different channels on there. One of them is a frequently asked questions channel. One of them is a unit information channel. You can also go to our website and check that out, and just kind of dance around, seeing if it's for you. And then if you do want to take that first step, then it's super simple. We have a talk to a recruiter section on there, where you can talk to a recruiter, ask any questions you like before you apply. And then after that, there's an application plugin on the Discord itself where you can start your application. You throw that in, our recruiting and our S1 team will get to it and process you into the unit, and then get you scheduled for a basic training. Which for us, it's more of like an orientation versus like, a, hey, this is how you do it. It's more like kind of just going over the unit, the history of the unit, what to expect, kind of the expectations of how to act, kind of thing, as far as like just being a good person. And then from there, it's just you know just get involved. The being in a mill sim is definitely what you make it to be, right?
Yep.
The more you get involved, the more things you have to unpack. But the less you're involved, and the less you have to unpack, and that's just totally up to that individual who's experiencing the unit for the first time. But yeah, to get a part of it, just join the Discord, talk to us, put an application in, and uh, check it out. Just see if it's for you.
Easy peasy. All right. Well, that's some good shit. Really appreciate the discussion here tonight. I enjoyed it, and like I said, I learned a lot. So, Captain Devin, really been a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you.
I just want to ask, any final thoughts? Any words that you want to share with the audience before we pop smoke for the night?
Man, I don't know. I'm sure I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but then the podcast would be really long. Uh,
Well,
but
I was gonna say we're gonna have to have you back one of these days then.
yeah, no, for sure. I would definitely love to come back and talk more about anything. Doesn't even necessarily have to be the 130. It could be about Milsim in general, or anything really. But other than that, I don't have anything. I think we unpacked it all. We talked about it all, and it was an enjoyable experience. And you did a great job hosting it, and I'm excited to see what's to come next. For the not just us, but for the Millstone community in general.
Good shit. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where you and the 183rd ends up. Whether it's a quarter from now, a year from now, 2027 with Arma 4. Definitely we'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, I'm excited.
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gents. Well, it's been another great podcast here at milsimunits.com. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Check out those links below in the description. Take a look at the 183rd. They got a lot of good shit going on here. So we'll be back here in the studio coming up in the next, couple of next few days, a couple of weeks maybe. We'll have another interview ready to go. Until that time, this is C. Brock signing off.